No, the ayes have it. First, can we do an individual introduction of all the members in the building here? I'll start with my humble self. I am Honorable Lamin J. Sane, National Assembly Member for Brikama South, the Chairperson of the Public Enterprise Committee of the National Assembly of the Gambia.
Good morning. I am Honorable Almame Jiba, National Assembly Member for the Councillor, member of the committee.
My name is Abdullah Njai from Banyu Central, member of the BEC committee. So good morning. I'm Honorable Salif Jao Jokadu and a member of this committee.
Clerk.
Yeah. Good morning. I am Ibrahim Jao, a clerk to the committee.
Yes, can we start?
I am Sheikh Omar Jigo, Chairman, Gambia National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC.
Thank you.
I am Faro, Managing Director, Gambia National Petroleum Corporation.
Thank you.
I am Francis Main, Director of Technical Services, Gambia Post.
Mohamed Jawad, Acting Finance Director.
Finance Director, GNPC.
Thank you.
I am John Sow, Deputy Finance Director,
I am Head of Finance now.
I am Amitika, Director of AMR.
Sire Diallo, Chairman AMR.
Sumana Sane, Managing Director of AMR.
Yeah, brother.
Manager, Director of Executives.
Good, Malik.
Senior Manager, HR.
Head of Finance Campus.
Okay.
Good morning, my name is Bakari Esmin Traore, Accountant.
Good morning, my name is Mariana Dennis from Digital Finance Administration.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that brilliant introduction. I think.
What of this gentleman? Speak with that.
No, he made his introduction. Yeah. Thank you for the introduction. We can go to the next item on the agenda. First, I want to. Yes, that's it. I just have with this.
No, later.
Later.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Honorable members of the Public Enterprise Committee, Board of Directors, Head of State-Owned Enterprises here in present, the clerk and support staff of the Public Enterprise Committee, the media, and all the other protocol duly and respectfully observed. Good morning to you all. It is my honor and privilege as Chairperson of Public Enterprise Committee of the 6th Legislature to welcome you all to this maiden briefing session with the committee. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this briefing is to highlight the new policy direction of the committee in relation to our operation and oversight role over the state-owned enterprises. Establishment, mandate, and terms of reference. To begin with, the Public Enterprise Standing Committee is established by Section 109, 1E, and Section 175, 4 of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, and draw its mandates from the Standing Order 97 and 122 of the National Assembly. It is entrusted with the responsibility of exercising the functions of the National Assembly in considering and advising all matter connected with the public enterprises. Section 175, subsection 4 of the 1997 Constitution states, within 6 months of the coming into force of this Constitution, an act of the National Assembly shall establish a committee to monitor the operation of the public enterprise and shall prescribe the manner in which such enterprise shall be accounted to the National Assembly and shall conduct the affairs in order to promote efficiency, transparency, and probity in all their undertakings. In exercising this mandate, the committee shall carry out the following functions. 1, to scrutinize, consider, and advise upon all matter connected with the public enterprise. 2, to scrutinize, review and consider the audited financial statement, activity reports, and management letter of public enterprise. 3, approve extension of deadline of submission of reports of public enterprises. 4, monitor performance and viability of public enterprise in relation to payment of dividends to government. 5, receive and review bills or acts, strategic plan, and other measures relating to the public enterprise, and advise on improving the text and implementing the mandates. Give periodic and annual report on the state of affairs of public enterprise to the National Assembly. The composition of the committee, the State-Owned Enterprise Committee we have here as a standing committee. The committee comprises of the following members. 1, myself, Lamin J. Sane, Honorable Lamin J. Sane as the chairperson. The vice chairperson is Honorable Bileji Tungara. We have Honorable Salif Jawo, Honorable Samba Diallo, Honorable Lamin Sise, Honorable Almame Jiba, Honorable Ibrahima Jete, Honorable Ablai Njai, and Honorable Sirif Sar. These are the members of the Standing Committee of the Public Enterprise of the Republic of the Gambian National Assembly. List of public enterprises. The Bureau of Committees at its meeting resolved that, moving forward, the Public Enterprise Committee shall focus on only 13 commercial state-owned enterprises as listed below. 1 is Gambia Ports Authority, Gambia Ferry Service Authority, Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation, Telecommunication Limited, Gambia Cellular Company Limited, Gambia Civil Aviation Authority, Gambia International Airline, National Water and Electricity Company, Gambia National Petroleum Corporation, National Food Security Processing and Marketing Corporation, the Gambia Postal Service, the Gambia Radio and Television Service, the Gambia Public Printing Corporation, Asset Management and Recovery Corporation. These are the 13 that are enlisted for us to take care as agreed by the Committee of Bureaus of the National Assembly. Reporting requirement to the committee. The public enterprise are required by law to submit their report to the National Assembly as per Section 175, subsection 5 of the Constitution. Public enterprise shall within 3 months of the end of its financial year submit an annual audit report to the National Assembly on its business and operation during the preceding year. Provide the appropriate committee of the National Assembly may extend the time for the submission of any report. Subsection 175, Section 175, subsection 1 of the 1997 Constitution and Section 2 of the Public Enterprise Act 1990 define the institution classified as public enterprise. In the Constitution, the public enterprise means any body, corporate or other body or institution wholly owned or controlled by the government. In the Public Enterprise Act, public enterprise means a corporation or any company whose equity is wholly owned by the government or partially owned by the government, together with another government institution, or wholly owned by the government institution. Section 160, subsection 1 of the 1997 Constitution states, the Auditor General shall, at least once in every year, audit and report on the public accounts of the Gambia, the accounts of all offices and authorities of the government of the Gambia, the account of the courts, the accounts of the National Assembly, and the accounts of all public enterprise. Subsection 1D adds, within 6 months of the end of the immediate proceedings, financial year to which each of the accounts refer to in paragraph C relates, report to the National Assembly on the account and draw attention to any irregularities in the account audited, to any other matter, which in his or her opinion ought to be brought to the notice of the National Assembly. Hence, the receipt of the timely audited account from the public enterprise is mandatory if the Auditor General is to give timely report on the National Assembly on the state of all the public accounts, including that of the public enterprise. Powers of the committee, the Public Enterprise Committee. The committee has power to call for persons, paper, reports, and records, and invite expert opinion in the process of monitoring, investigation, and general performance of its oversight role. Section 109, subsection 3 indicates that for the purpose of efficiency, performing its functions, each of the committee shall have all the powers, right, and privilege as are vested in the High Court at a trial in respect of enforcing the attendance of witness and examining them on oath, affirmation, or otherwise, compelling the production of documents, and the issue of commission or request to examine witness abroad. Section 110 of the Constitution states, any act or omission which obstruct or impede the National Assembly in the performance of its function, or which obstruct or impede any member or officer of the National Assembly in discharge of his or her duty, or affront the dignity of the National Assembly, shall be a contempt of the National Assembly, and in addition to any liability in respect thereof, under the criminal law, the offender shall be liable to reprimand or admonition by the National Assembly, and if offender is a member of the National Assembly, suspension or expulsion from the National Assembly. Thus, moving forward, the citing procedures of the committee shall be as follows. Engagement with the Public Enterprise Committee take precedence over all other engagement. Thus, once an officer or an institution is summoned to appear before the committee and give excuse for not appearing without a prior authority from the chairperson, he or she or they will be in contempt of the committee and will, in consequences, be subject to a sanction, the nature of which will be determined by the committee. Before presenting any report or testimony to the committee, all officials shall take a prescribed oath to be administered by the clerk of the committee. Institutions or officers shall submit both hard and soft copies of their annual activity report and audited financial statement to the office of the clerk 2 weeks before the date set for scrutiny. Failure to do so will consider to be a contempt of the Assembly and shall call for a reprimand, whose nature will be defined by the committee. At the end of each session, the committee shall prepare a report with recommendation, which shall be laid before the Assembly on public enterprise that presented their account for scrutiny. The committee shall give a timeline for the implementation of the recommendation and shall assume responsibility to monitor the implementation of its recommendation and shall hold institutions accountable for not adhering to its dictates. Expectation from the public enterprises. Section 3 of the Public Enterprise Act stated, the principal objective of every public enterprise shall be to operate as a successful business, and to this end, to be as profitable and efficient as possible. Operate in accordance with the government objectives for the sector, and to be a good employer. Thus, the committee shall monitor closely the activities of the commercial public enterprise, which are designed to be profitable in order to pay tax and dividend to the government, render efficient sectorial service, and generate employment to ensure compliance. Responsibility of Board of Directors. Section 175 of the subsection 175 subsection 2 of the Constitution indicates the members of the Board of Directors or other governing body of public enterprise shall be appointed by the President in consultation with the Public Service Commission and shall be selected from amongst persons of integrity, competence, maturity of judgment, a member of the National Assembly, a holder of political office, or an office of a political party shall not be qualified to be appointed to the board of directors or other governing body of the public enterprise. According to Section 3 of the Public Enterprise Act, the board of public enterprise shall be accountable to the government in a manner set out in the Act and in the rules of the enterprise. Hence, the board of the public enterprise constitutes its governing authority and it's accountable to the executive and the National Assembly. The board should always be present before committee of the National Assembly to give or cause the giving of explanation discharge and shall make decision for such enterprise. Working plan of the committee. The committee shall convene its sitting to consider audited accounts and financial statement of public enterprise from 27th June to 29th July 2022. At the end of this meeting, the committee shall share its work plan for attention and necessary action. It shall strictly adhere to the dates allocated to public enterprises in order to maximize the limited time allocated for committee operation by the National Assembly. Conclusion. In conclusion, taking cognizance of the indispensability of constitutional and statutory obligation to present timely annual audited account and activity report by all public enterprise, and being convinced that it is only through the availability of such reports that a fair and trust assessment of the strengths and weaknesses of the public enterprise could be determined. On an annual basis, in order to make recommendation requisite for the development as viable institution capable of making meaningful contributions to the socio-economic development of the country. As a result, the committee has resolved that all pending report from 2020 to 2021 for these 13 public enterprise should be submitted latest December 2020. I thank you all for your kind attendance. The next on the agenda is the question and answer session. If you have anything to ask, we are here to respond. Yes. 2022. Yes, December 2020. Yeah, we'll ask the GPA to stay and the ferries immediately after this.
Yes,
Do
yes.
you communicate to them?
Yes.
Do you call them?
Yes, I did.
The ferries are not yet around.
I only talked to the GP. I couldn't get the ferries, unfortunately.
Yes, thank you. Yes, a copy will be given. They are circulating it. Do we have ferries in our midst here? They are yet to come. Okay. They are yet to come. Yes, thank you. Yes.
I just want to find out for my company, which is GMPC, we are supposed to meet the committee
Yes.
for presentation of reports. What are the reports? Are we looking at
2020 and 2021.
okay, both 2020
And 2021.
But in our own case, the 2021 audit is yet to commence.
Okay.
But the 2020 has already been submitted.
Submitted.
To the previous committee.
Okay.
Yes, yes. But for the 2021, the external auditors are yet to commence. Although we believe inshallah, before December 2022,
Yes.
all our accounts, the 2021 shall have been ready and will be submitted in time.
Okay.
So that's the only pending account for GMPC, the 2021.
2021. Okay. Thank you so much. Is that the 2020 is with the previous committee, or we need a resubmission?
This is resubmit. No, we will check if it is any days in it, then we will communicate to them.
You will communicate to them?
Yeah, we will check for us. He said it's already submitted.
Okay. With GNPC, we want to check with in our files if the 2020 is still submitted with us. We'll look at it, and then the clerk will communicate to you whether it's available or not. Then we can request for the 2020. Okay. Yes? P is. Yeah, these are the 13 institutions I mentioned already that are under our purview as a standing committee for public enterprise committee. So if the names are not...
Can you ask which institution?
Which institution do you belong to?
That was FPAC.
That's for FPAC.
It was rescheduled. The meeting was cancelled because the ministers, the executive, having a retreat.
No, your meeting has been cancelled. There is a retreat going on. Yeah. No, the issue is that's a different committee. There is FPAC that supposed to have a meeting with you today, but there is. Okay. Okay.
Somebody want.
Anybody? Yes.
Yes, along the same line that honorable chair, members of the committee, along the same line that normally by end of the January, February, decisions are ready with the monument account.
Okay.
Submitted to the auditors. Normally the national audit will appoint the external auditor.
Okay.
Before they will commence receiving your money. So you find it difficult to have the report submitted, already submitted to the National Assembly portion of money. But at the institutional level, they are done with a monument account, meaning for the government. So these are some of the, because we have very few money funds from the grant, and if you happen to find yourself within the queue, you normally deal with these additions.
Okay, but this time the deadline is December 2022. But in fact, this meeting we have invited the National Audit Office to be around so that this type of issues can be addressed and see how best we can come together and give a date.
Do we know the national audit?
No, they are not around.
I think they should come.
Yeah,
So that we can direct, some of these questions
They are not.
as to why, reports are
Okay.
2020 is already done.
Yes.
So we are about to start the 2022.
Okay.
So this timetable here, is it referring to only 2020 or for 2020 and 2021?
2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you look at the report, it's there. It's got
Yeah, but like this was in July. So what we are saying is, for as far as the 2020 is available, we will go on with that. But let them make sure before December,
Yes.
2021 is available.
Okay,
So
okay.
But this one, this work plan is already
Okay,
June
okay.
and July. They will go on with the
The current work plan that is on circulation to you is capturing June and July. So if the 2020 is ready, I think that can be adequately taken care of. But the 2021 before December, you do every effort to make sure that they are available. All right. Thank you.
Yes, I also want to add in, as per some of these account reports. I believe this time, the 6th legislative year, we want to take a different approach.
Use this mic.
Whereby we could. Yes, whereby we could facilitate a better approach to see this PA's efficiency and their work is done in earnest. We know that's why we invited the national audit to be present to see with GPP to see some of the loopholes that we have seen challenges. For that being the case, I believe institutional level, sometimes it's difficult to look for audit firms, but you could also venture. Let's work on meeting the deadline. I think it's very, very important. If we are to say national audit is not ready, institutional-wise, we will have a compelling issues of years and years. So the essence of auditing report is not for a double 2 year or 3 years. If we are in 2022, you do, for example, an audit of 2019, it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes the managing director who is currently in those years is not there. So how do we be able to do efficiently in those work areas? So I believe so. Put your house in order, institutions, and make sure you tailor-make your auditing procedures and reports. If necessary, work with, we will also engage the national audit and also GPA to see efficient in doing. We won't...
if possible, to outsource for them.
Yeah, if possible, you could also work on your mandate to outsource. So I don't think there is any issue that says we are waiting for a national audit, it's not available. You could outsource and do it effectively. So we should be ready to change the narratives now instead of waiting. So it's not helpful to you and neither us. So we'll engage the national audit. If that's not in line, you could outsource it and do it better. So I think this 6th legislative year, we want to change and a better dimension in all procedures of PS.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. No. I mean, when you come to auditing, you can outsource it to any of the firms available. I don't know whether that's a constraint or not.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Is the national audit
Okay.
That will
delegates
appoint.
to the external auditors.
Okay.
And they actually said among the institutions.
Okay.
So each external audit firm is given specific institutions.
No, that's why we will consider.
Outsourcing is already there.
Okay. Yeah, we will engage them fully to see a better approach this time.
I think that's why the national audit should be here, so that some of these concerns could be directed.
Very well. Yes.
I think, yes. Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's a very good observation. Already we have been invited national audit. I don't know why they are not yet around. But as a committee, we are going to engage them thoroughly on this issue. How best do we improve the timing of reporting? And this cannot be done. You cannot report when you are not audited. So we will work with them and see how best we are going to improve on this. Yeah, thank you.
profitable,
Yes.
and be able to pay dividends to government.
Yeah.
And this is, of course, true. However, we should understand the nature of some of the public enterprises like Post.
Okay.
We're not purely commercial.
Yeah.
Some of our activities are not commercial. Letterman and parcel postal services are purely public.
Yeah.
These rates are controlled by government. We cannot increase our rates. Our rates are below the market arm's length price. For instance, you post a letter to Post, the maximum you pay is $350. Go to DHL, you pay $2,000 plus.
Or 3,000.
Or 3,000. So we cannot increase our rates because the rates are controlled by government.
Yeah.
These services actually are subsidized from our profitable services.
Yeah.
Yes, the financial services business, that is purely commercial.
Yeah.
The courier service, that is purely commercial. But these ones are not commercial. And dividends cannot be paid. So what I'm trying to say is our situation should be considered that we are not purely commercial. Most of our services, like the ones I mentioned, are public services rendered to the public at no profit at all. In fact, they are subsidized from our profitable business units.
Second point.
Yeah.
Sequential progression, what is covered here.
Yeah. Thank you so much. If you just carefully look at my my statement, if you look at to operate in accordance with the government objective for that sector, that really cover your area, the services you are doing. Not all the public enterprises has to be maximizing that profit to be able to pay the dividend, but sometimes the service you give. I think this has to be not only you, but it has to be in consultation even with the government to look at the status quo of all the PEs, the public enterprise, how they are working. Even in the service, we need some improvement, at least to be addressing. Not only you, you have a lot of PEs that are also service providers, but at the same time maximizing profit and paying dividend. But there are some PEs that are highly indebted. Government keep on bailing them out, in, year out. I think the directorate unit, we have the representative here from the Ministry of Finance, who are very much aware of these things. So they are also our partners. Will be working with them to see how best do we improve the profit maximization aspect of it, also the service delivery. How do we improve it? Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
I also have an add-up to your fears that you have said about maximizing profit. I believe Post before and now, we've seen a lot of improvement in terms of service delivery. So you could also diversify, come with innovative. The essence here is about making sure that that institutions meet its target based on government and other agencies based on law. So you could also explore on your own, sit back with your management and come with innovative, services that you think will be better off in terms of service delivery and in terms of gaining revenue. So in that, if proposals are made, including a budget, we could also work together to see that it is amicably solved, whereby before Post now, and before and now, you could see a big differences. You have innovated some services that were not before. Go back, sit back with your management team, and also improve certain areas that you think could be a very good point or a very good starting point to see that you could improve in terms of finance or gain revenue. Okay. That's my take.
Can I just follow up?
Yes.
Maybe my point is very well understood. We are making profit.
Okay.
It's not that we are also diversified. Yes, we will, of course, this is continuous.
Somebody
I'm not saying that we are not making profit. We are making profit. I'm only trying to point out to you that some of our services are not profit, are not for profit. Letter post and parcel post. We cannot tell you. It's just not for profit. Other services are making profit. It's just for you to
understand. Thank you. Any other question? Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, yes, tell me.
Talking about that.
Yes.
At the other end of the spectrum, is also government owing certain public enterprises a lot of money.
Yeah. It's true. That's a problem. Like now we can what else?
Mr. Chairman, you mentioned the issue of debts.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain that at the other end of the spectrum,
yeah.
government also owes a lot of money to certain public enterprises. One of them is TNPC. We are owed over $1 billion
from the government
by the Gambia government. And that has actually been the main reason, or one of the reasons, why we were not able to pay dividends on a timely basis.
Okay.
So this is something that the government also needs to
take care of.
See how they can
Thank you so much. I think that's a point that we're also going to take it up.
Okay. Honorable Chair, I think what my chairman has said is perfect. We've actually been struggling to collect some of these debts. And what happened is that during the accounting cycle, in particular when the external auditors are auditing our books, they'll actually provide for some of this, which has already been recognized as revenue. So what it does is it cuts down the profit of the institution. It's actually, I mean, both government, central government, some government departments, as well as some parastatals. Some parastatals are owing us a lot. In fact, I think our biggest debtor is actually NAWIC. Our biggest debtor is NAWIC. And the Minister of Finance, I understand, earlier made some form of arrangements between parastatals to see how these, there's some form of cross-settlement of debts. I mean, we want, if possible, this committee to also assist in the collection of this debt. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You want to comment? Yes. Use this mic. Respond.
Good morning, everyone.
Your name first?
Lamin Sise, Kyovet constituency, also a member of this committee. I'm very much happy that he has been, since that, to put that across, that some public enterprises have been seriously owed by the central government.
Good.
And I want to suggest that during the time of giving those loans, there has to be proper arrangement as per the recovery and, of those loans, and as to why they are even given out. And in fact, if you look at that, and before central government goes to bail another institution somewhere, he is also the government is also owing another institution which has to be settled, but also bailing another institution to be, to recover the debt. It's very contrary. So in actual sense, I would have thought that proper procedures when it comes to giving monies to the central government has to be followed. And if your institution wants this government, this committee, to help in recovering those debts from the central government and other institutions, and it would be fair enough also for us to go through the procedures that has been taken in giving out those loans, and as to why were they given out. I think those things would be very, very important. Pretty much.
Yes, I can actually comment on that, sir. But basically, these were not necessarily loans given in monetary terms. These were fuel supply, and they failed to pay. And reconciliations have been done. So it's not that we gave physical cash, no. They were supplied fuel, all right? They were supposed to pay, and they failed to pay. This is it. So it's the fuel debt, the unpaid debt.
Okay. I quite understand exactly the reason in which you are coming from.
Yes.
But we'll be having individual engagement with each of these PEs, and we can go further in dealing with these issues. Right now, let's begin our intervention around the statement I presented, so that we can be done. Then every PE will be coming to face us. There will be a family discussion. We can discuss at length the issues that you are confronted with. I think that we'll be able to strike a balance, how to approach. Thank you. Any other question regarding the statement? Are we all satisfied with the timing of submission, December 2022?
Well, the only caveat there
Yes.
is what everybody has already said.
Yes.
That this doesn't only depend on the public enterprises.
Okay.
It very much depends on the auditors.
Exactly.
The problem is the auditors.
Yeah.
There is a shortage of auditors in town. And unless and until that is taken care of, this is going to be a perennial problem.
Anyway, I think we've promised that we are going to engage the National Audit Office and come out with a strategy that will be able to address the issue so that the issue of bad luck will be a thing of the past. Yes?
Yes, I just want to add what the chairman is saying. It's good to engage the National Audit Office. But I'm also saying
yes.
You also try to have another briefing with the private audit firms, at least to understand what's their problems. Because, okay, some people will say, okay, when the banks are up, they go for the banks, because that's where they get the money. And the job that they do for public enterprises is more than what they do for the banks. The banks don't have tech. You just present it to the board, it's over. Here you present to the board, you come to the text, and in most cases, audit firms are paid peanuts. So they would rather go for where the money is so that they can pay their staff. So what I would suggest, in addition of meeting the national body, also try to have another session with the external, with the private audit firms.
Women of audit firms, private audit firms.
Also address their problems. It's important because it's a competition. We are competing with the private sector, who can give them probably, let's say, $1 million to audit and it's over. You come to public enterprise, they just pay 200, 150, things like that. Other circumstances is business.
Yeah.
Even though they are doing it ethically, but obviously that's the competing. And I think I would suggest you also try to engage them, bring them on board. In fact, it could be combined with the national audit and the audit firms together.
Yeah.
Then you can also understand their predicament and work on that aspect. That will also help the committee help on both aspects.
Thank you so much. I think that's a very good suggestion. Yeah, it's in line. You captured it, huh? Okay. You have anything?
Yeah, maybe, yes. In addition to what he's saying, the external auditors, can't they be appointed by the boards of directors instead of national auditors? The board of directors have the mandate to oversee the institutions.
Okay.
Why don't they have the mandate to appoint auditors for the national audit office? That's what we're looking to.
Yeah, that we will look at the legal implication then.
They don't, the board cannot, because that mandate is the mandate of the Auditor General. He is outsourcing his mandate to the external auditor.
Okay.
The Constitution only give him the mandate to audit all the institutions.
Okay.
And that provision is coded in your statement.
Yeah, 117. Like I think it is the role of the Auditor General. And if you look at my statement, the constitutional provision is there. So it's the Auditor General that outsources, not the board instead. I think that is already quoted. Yes. Expectation. Yeah. Okay. Okay, section 160, subsection 1C, stated that the Auditor General, at least once in every year, audit and report to the public accounts of the Gambia. So it is his responsibility to outsource it to other audit firms. If we don't have anything, can we call the meeting too? Okay. Yeah. I think if we have, if we don't have any other issue, we can bring this meeting to an end, with the exception of GPA. We want to have a discussion with the GPA and ferries if they are available. We have an issue that we want to discuss with you.
Do you have the ferries here?
No.
Okay.
Our board here have
Okay, I've seen it.
I think it's the same.
It's the same, so we'll take care of them. No, we'll discuss. The
I
same
think
board.
it's communicated difference.
No, it's the same board, Chair. We'll discuss with them.
Yeah, it's the same board.
Yes, I have a random question to all PAs here. As per the statement, it is indicated that to be a good employer, these PAs, what are the
recruitment capacity
within your purviews of your institution? Because we all know that these are all public-owned enterprises. You know, what challenges or what expectation do we foresee in your institutions in terms of that area? Be a good employer. Any of the PAs?
Sorry, I don't clearly get what you're meaning. You mean the capacity? Do we have adequate capacities? That what you ask?
Yeah, in terms of employment.
Recruitment capacity.
When you say recruitment capacity,
yeah.
whether there is room for us to
exactly.
take in people.
Yeah.
I think that depends on the strategy of the institution. You know, if the institution, has specific strategies that requires growth, it will actually require intake of people, with those people possessing those skills. So basically, we don't just employ people because we're a private, a public entity for the sake of actually employing them. No, they must come to do something. That thing which they must come to do must exist. It has to be created, and it has to be created for the institution to grow. For example, in our own case, GNPC, we're actually trying to expand the market. We're actually trying to go into other products. So basically, when we get those new products, it will actually require people with those skills. So we'll take on board people with the requisite skills to actually deal with or sell those products. Yes, for us in our own case,
also serve our questions when we have an individual meeting with them.
And in the
able to
process
go
of that
further.
expansion, we'll take on board
I think we can. What? Yes. Yes.
Recruitment is a serious problem because skills are changing. All these industries are evolving, and you have staff without the capacity in terms of readiness and investment for them to upgrade their skills to catch up with the changes in the industry. So we have delays in, now we have IT almost pushes everything. Most of these positions we are having have a problem with the accounting systems and their reliability. But it is all, done using new and modern techniques of keeping records. It would be easy to audit. Those are some of the challenges we have in terms of recruiting people able, because you have to have people ready to move in the organization. You don't plan and then start recruiting people that are not yet trained. So you sometimes have a skills gap. You have equipment that you cannot use, so it's an investment that's underutilized. So I think we should be looking at that. In terms of actually humanity of development is to train the people to making them ready for the challenges ahead, rather than finding yourself in a situation where you are not able to cope. Technologies that you cannot use, machines that you can, when you talk about the realize,
yes,
because the machine came before the kids, people have and in economic terms, that's a lot. So I think those are some things that we have to look at.
I don't take tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you so much for your intervention, and it's noted. I know in our subsequent meeting, we'll be meeting each individual PE. Then we can discuss at length with regards to PE specific. But as far as this issue is concerned, I think we are now putting this meeting to an end if we are in agreement. I think I want to seize this opportunity to thank all of you for sparing your time to come and answer to us at the National Assembly. We are partners in development, and I believe this committee is another side of you, two sides of the same coin, completely inseparable. We have to work together and see how can we better and improve the status quo of the PEs, which is our core mandate. whether we like it or not, after the 5 years, we are going to be subjected to renewal. So what is incumbent upon us as a committee is to write a positive legacy for generation unborn to emulate, which is very, very important. And I know you are also struggling. You want to live up to expectation by performing as expected. But sometimes if we don't come together and help one another, we might not discover those bottlenecks, and that aspect will not be felt. So like we'll invite the National Audit Office, we'll invite the GPPA, and we'll discuss with this, and also the Directorate, which are very, very important, and almost all our engagement will be dealing with them to see how best we better improve these PAs in terms of advocacy, in terms of legislation. So on that note, I want to, any member from my committee to move the motion, we adjourn till tomorrow.
Another set of PAs.
Yeah. Any seconder?
I have a second.
It has been moved and seconded that the session is adjourned till tomorrow, 10 a.m. prompt. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. So the meeting has been adjourned now till tomorrow. We'll be inviting another set of PEs that will be coming to meet with us. We hope to meet you in our subsequent engagement. Director, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.